Hey Tegan.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Good.
First thing I wanted to ask you, because you guys were sort of discovered by Neil Young, right?
Kind of, yeah.
Is he as crazy as I'd like to believe?
Well, I don't hang out with Neil on the regular,
Okay.
so I can't really speak for his behind-the-scenes behaviors. But the experiences we've had with him have all been really normal.
Okay.
We toured with him for a summer, like when we first signed to the label, I guess in like 2000, maybe 2001, and he was really great. He tours with his whole family, and
Right.
I think the thing I love the most about Neil Young, besides his music, is his operation. Like the people that keep company with him. Like he's got some of the same crew he's had for 30 years. He's with the same manager, and Sarah and I have sort of modeled our career after that. Like
Cool.
trying to have remembering that there'll be lots of this in your career, but that hopefully it's not like this. So and that means having people around you that really support you. So, but he's a pretty nice person.
Well, so being on his label, does that mean that you're free to indulge every artistic aspiration, like divergence that you ever have?
Yeah, basically. I mean, when Sarah and I were, being courted by labels, this was like, 11, 12 years ago. And we were just out of high school. We were like teenage, we were twin teenager girls, basically. I mean, every label was like, And Sarah and I knew that we weren't really, I wasn't aspiring to be that, like kind of super poppy. Like that year when we first put our first record out, it was like Avril Lavigne and Nelly Furtado and Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera, which they're all very different artists from one another, but one thing they had in common was that they sort of were a part of that machine, the mainstream videos and photo shoots, and they're kind of girly, and we were like tomboys, and we were just on the verge of coming out. Like I was just like, that's gonna be a nightmare. So, when we looked at all the different labels that were interested, Vapor were the only label that were offering 5 records, the kind of records we wanted to make, though, just whatever you want. And our budgets would get bigger as we, kind of sold more records or we got more fan base. And I liked that. I liked the idea of longevity. And that made, I'm almost 30, so we've gotten this far. Like, I mean, I think if we just signed to a regular record label, we would have probably just been dropped and then re-signed and dropped, like,
Right.
because I don't
Just trimmed out.
Yeah, I think so, like, because I just think we always, this was, 99, this was, like, before indie rock and hipster and all that stuff, like, there was no place for us, really, even in the, indie world, even on Vapor with Neil's label, like, they just kind of were like, I don't know, go play, see you when you're 30.
So does Tegan and Sara predate hipster?
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. I mean, I think what was happening at the end of the 90s and the early 2000s was more rock, or you were either like rock or pop, like I think even the like punk pop movement wasn't really quite in full force, at least in Canada. I mean, in the States it was, of course, like a lot of these genres were going, but yeah, I mean, I remember touring in Europe and stuff and seeing posters for like the Weaker Thans and a few like kind of alternative indie rock bands, but it was kind of hard out there, like indie rock was still really underground, I think, it hadn't gotten cool yet.
Okay.
It wasn't cool to wear tight pants then.
Well, so the first time I heard you was definitely Walking with a Ghost, probably when I was 17. At that point, that was one of the catchiest songs I'd ever heard in my life, to the point that I almost always felt uncomfortable.
Yeah, it makes me uncomfortable.
What was that feeling I was experiencing?
When
Can you
Sarah
explain that for me?
Yeah, I don't really know, because I mean, when Sarah played me that song, that was 2004, and I was just like, it was really slow, and she'd recorded it at home. We both have home studios, and she'd recorded it at home when we were in Europe, and she was like, oh, I want to play this demo. It's really weird, and I don't know if you're gonna like it. And it came out, it was like half the speed it is now, and it was really reverby, and she just was playing this one jangling guitar, and it was just like crack. The first time I was walking with a ghost, it was all haunted, and I was like, eek. Yeah, I just remember thinking like, oh, she's onto something. It really challenged me, that's when I started churning out some of the songs for that record, like You Wouldn't Like Me and Speak Slow, and I was like, oh, we're gonna take a different direction. Which, I mean, is sort of how Tegan and Sara work. Because we don't actually physically write together very often, it's sort of like when Sara sends me a song, it'll really influence how I approach the next song. So anyway, but that uncomfortable feeling, I don't know. Babies really like that song. So
Really?
we need to interview a baby.
How do you have so much experience with babies liking that song?
I don't know. Parents bring their 2-year-old, like I'd say like 3-year-olds and down, like love Tegan and Sara. And there's something, I think it's mostly Sarah songs, like they look back in her head and walk in the ghost. It's because they're very repetitive.
Huh. That's a great market. I don't think anybody's exploited that yet.
I know, because you get the parents too, right? So it's 3 tickets.
Yeah, get on that. I think that's about our time, I'm assuming.
You can ask one last question if you
List 5 things.
5 things?
Yeah.
Just any 5 things?
5 things.
Okay, yoga. Feeling a little sore today from some yoga. And Doc Martens. Kind of my favorite new shoes. Resurgence of popularity. Freedom of choice. The pants that I wear that keep the muffins in. Wendy's. Just walked by. God, I love Wendy's. I didn't eat it, but I wanted to. King size 4-poster bed. Don't have one of those. Don't even have close to that kind of room in my bedroom.
Right, because this is actually here, right now in the room.
It is in the room, but it's not mine.
Nope, not ours.
I don't think I'd want it. It's a little ornate.
I don't think I'd want to sleep on those pillows. They can't be comfortable.
It does not look like a comfortable bed. This is like Lady Gaga's bed.
Yeah. Although I do believe it's missing like some sort of thing that's draped over this way.
I would think so.
Yeah.
It seems kind of like, what's the point of the 4-poster bed if there isn't something hanging? If I went home with a girl and she had this bed, I'd probably not be into it.
Yeah, or there have to be mirrors on it for me to be into it.
Yeah, gotta take it to the next level.
Exactly. It's got to be cliche.